Charles Edward Anderson Berry, better known as Chuck Berry, was an American guitarist, singer, and songwriter who was one of the most influential figures in the development of rock and roll music. He was born on October 18, 1926, in St. Louis, Missouri, and passed away on March 18, 2017, in Wentzville, Missouri. Berry grew up in a middle-class family in St. Louis. He was the fourth of 6 children and was raised in a predominantly African-American neighborhood. Berry attended Sumner High School, where he developed an interest in music and began playing the guitar. He was also a talented athlete and excelled in track and field. In the early 1950s, Berry began performing in clubs in St. Louis and Chicago. He was influenced by the blues and country music of his youth, as well as the swing music of the big bands that he had heard on the radio. Berry's unique guitar style, which combined blues riffs and country twang with a rock and roll beat, quickly made him a local favorite. In 1955, Berry recorded his first hit, Maybelline, which was a mix of country and R&B music. The song was an immediate success and helped to establish Berry as a major figure in the emerging rock and roll scene. Over the next few years, Berry had a string of hits, including Roll Over Beethoven, Johnny B. Good, and Sweet Little 16. Berry's music was characterized by his clever lyrics and his ability to tell stories through his songs. His lyrics often celebrated the joys of youth and the freedom of the open road, themes that resonated with teenagers in the 1950s. Berry was also known for his energetic live performances, which often included his signature duck walk dance move. Berry's success was not without controversy, however. In 1959, he was arrested and charged with violating the Mann Act, which prohibited the transportation of a minor across state lines for immoral purposes. He was found guilty and served 20 months in prison. Despite this setback, Berry continued to have success in the 1960s and 1970s, releasing hits such as No Particular Place to Go and My Ding-a-Ling. He also continued to tour and perform live, and his influence on rock and roll continued to grow. Many of the biggest bands of the 1960s and 1970s, including the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, were heavily influenced by Berry's music. Berry's influence on rock and roll cannot be overstated. He was one of the first musicians to combine the blues and country music of his youth with a rock and roll beat, creating a sound that would define the genre for decades to come. His clever lyrics and storytelling ability also set him apart from many of his contemporaries. Berry's influence can be heard in the music of countless artists who came after him, including the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Bruce Springsteen. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986, and his music continues to be celebrated and revered by fans around the world. Berry's unique sound and style have made him one of the most important and influential musicians of the 20th century.